So can you introduce yourself and tell us what it is to be an AI manager? What exactly does the role entail?
Yeah, it's an interesting one because I think we're still figuring out is the perks of having a role that no one in the company has had before. So my role currently is more focused on the data management and the AI management. The way I explain it when somebody asks what are we doing with AI is like in a building, because we work in construction, AI is the rooftop and we're currently in the mud digging the foundations because everything needs to be in place before we get to AI. But yeah, in terms of where I got there, my background, just so you understand a bit more of who I am. I am an architect. So because this role didn't exist when I had a choice of what career to go for.
Yeah.
I'm an architect who always like to find the best ways, best tools to do my job, which is what got me into Revit, which is BIM. And eventually I became the Revit expert in the company that led me to the BIM coordination and management, which is the role that I started in this company. For those who are not familiar with BIM, the way I explain it is like it's a bit like when you play The Sims, if you have ever played it.
Yeah. Yeah.
When you do the build mode, which was obviously my favorite, you're not just putting lines in a paper, which is what architects traditionally did. You're putting walls, you're putting doors, you're choosing the color of it, so the computer understands what is a wall, what is a door, which one the sim can cross. That level of intelligence is what you achieve with BIM. That's what attracted me to it in the first place. And the next step is all of the data management perks and all of the AI that we're currently working on. And that's led me to the second degree that I did as an apprenticeship. And that is Digital Technology Solutions Data Analyst branch. So it's a bit of a squiggly line of a career. It's not
Uh-huh.
typical. You study doctor and then you're a doctor 20 years later. Uh,
Yeah.
but I believe that's the future of professions as we stand.
Indeed, indeed. I mean, similar to you, I mean, there's so many of us within this industry. Our roots to digital construction or BIM was architecture. I mean, I studied architecture as well, and I never knew that, one day I'll be doing this thing called, digital construction or BIM. I mean, did you always see yourself as being involved in technology? I mean, even when you studied architecture, for instance, did you think that you'd be involved in the technology aspects, or were you interested in that at all?
I was interested. I didn't see it as my career. So for
Mm,
context, when I was a kid, I'm talking probably like 8, 9 years old, I got one of these toy laptops with games, and it was like the most
yeah,
like the interface of a calculator almost. One of the functions was actually basic programming, like before Visual Basics and all of that. And I started typing my first coding and learning what a syntax error it is. So it's something that always interested me. But I also like from architecture the balance between the creative side, because I like
yeah.
to paint, to make things, to build things, and the maths and the science. So architecture was the way to bring it together in a way. And then the reality of architecture, there's less creativity than you think. There's more creativity in solving
Mm,
problems sometimes, which is what led me back to the technology part.
indeed, indeed. And how is AI being used in construction at the moment?
At the moment, I define it as we're figuring it out. There's
Mm,
risk because at the moment we have lots of vendors for platforms for all the different functions in construction, and every single one of the vendors has an AI chatbot that does something.
mm,
The risk is that there's a lot of silos, each one with their little AI chat.
yeah.
And that's where a lot of companies are going without realizing. What we're working on at Bovis is to actually define the mind so that the AI can be the voice, but it's not just a voice of nonsense, it's a voice of a connected
Mm.
network of knowledge.
Yeah. Do you think the construction industry is playing catch up as we normally do with, new
Oh,
technologies?
100%. And it's really tricky, to be honest. And it's not because people being stupid, it's just because our our product is more complex than anyone else's. We
mm,
deliver super complicated element, which is a building with all the services, with all the structure, all the finishes, and every single one is different. It's not like a phone. You can make a million phones and then you can optimize the
yeah,
product because there
yeah,
are so many of them.
yeah.
You cannot do that with construction, which is why we're
Mm,
always a little bit behind.
So how is AI helping to solve many of these problems that we're coming across?
Yeah, so there are two avenues again. So one avenue, which is the one that we are trying to avoid, which is AI automating some of the tricky, repetitive process
Mm,
without changing the underlying. So it's like, for example, if we are looking at um, drawings, there's AI that can read drawings and can extract the estimation. So that's a real application that is happening that we're looking at. But that risks becoming a patch that enables inefficiencies. So that's okay for the moment, but what we really want is to find AI as a helper for smarter ways to do things. So, for example, we're working on the BIM model, as you are, Anthony, and that model already has the estimations in a way. So, why
mm,
don't we just improve that so that it's a click of a database instead of having a super consuming AI model going through thousands of drawings to give an inaccurate output? That makes sense. I'm worried I'm
that's good.
overcomplicating things. I'm not sure
No,
how to
no,
feel
well,
about
it's clear to me. I mean, I know it's early days with AI in construction, but I mean, so far, what's the most interesting AI project you've worked on?
it. The most interesting one. So there's one that I particularly liked that I did a prototype on, which is precisely about making sense of all the documents that we have. We have documents about lessons learned, for example.
Mm,
Whenever we finish a project, there's a presentation. Okay, so this is what could be done better. This is what happened. This is what you should do next time. Then everyone's happy, leaves the room, and that learning is only half remembered in the best of cases.
mm, yeah,
Uh, but we can use AI to go through all of these documents that are there, um, structure them in a way that can be then used. So, for example, as a template for new projects, so that each one of the actions is there for everyone, regardless whether they were in that meeting listening to that presentation.
okay, okay. And in say 3 to 5 years' time, when AI would find its feet within the industry, what sort of skill sets would you be looking for in people looking to join your team?
In people, so problem solving, creative problem solving, actually,
Yeah,
the ability to see things differently, to find
yeah,
gaps that everyone else has missed, and to collaborate with everyone else to make sure that we cover anything that the AI cannot cover by itself. So things like memory of data. So what was done in exams, which is probably still done, of trying to remember all the kinks, all the
yeah.
data, being able to do calculations by head. That is, it's good in the sense of it makes your brain function, but it's not what we will need in the workplace. So it's mostly about adaptability, communication, critical thinking, and judgment. Those will be the top skills.
Fantastic, fantastic. And do you think these are skills that are being kids are being prepared for at this moment, or it's not really being prioritized? Do you think the educational system is a bit lagging behind some other
Yeah,
countries in that regard? Mm,
I do think it's behind. The times are changing too fast for education, but
mm,
I'm starting to see some hope because I've done the degree, the apprenticeship degree I have done, is
yeah,
based on knowledge, skills, and behaviors. And those are the
okay.
items that are graded. It's very different to the degree, the architecture degree that I did back home.
Mm,
And the fact that there's no not just the knowledge, but the skills and the behaviors. And there was a lot of it about critical thinking, stakeholder engagement, communication. That gives me some hope that there's
mm,
that people are still being prepared for what is really happening. And the apprenticeship model also, I think it's really useful in terms of you're not just isolated in a box for
yeah,
5 years, you're
yeah.
learning in the job what is actually
Uh-huh.
happening in the real world.
Okay, okay. So you've mentioned collaboration, communication, teamwork quite a lot. Is teamwork an important, very important factor? Is that a skill set that students would need to to develop?
It's essential. And again, it was one
Oh,
that was not developed in my first degree. It's like you do your own project, you do
yeah.
your, but in reality, as you can be the smartest person in the world, you cannot do
Mm,
everything by yourself. Um, you may have some chances with some things in terms of AI startups, but for scopes as complex as construction, I doubt you can do a main contractor company with just one person.
mm.
Um, so we still need to work with each other, and I think we will for a long time.
Okay. Fantastic, fantastic. Um, for my next question, I hope you don't mind me asking. Um, were there many women in the construction industry when you started, and how do you think things have changed now?
Yeah,
Are things any different?
yeah, not many for sure. I mean, in architecture there were some. There were still people back in my small village who said architecture that's a job for men.
Mm,
Luckily, that had changed. And in construction, I have also seen some change. The previous
mm,
generation, women really struggle and had these situations like given the key of one bathroom on site because they were the only person to use it.
yeah.
But today you start seeing some more, especially in construction management. We do have quite a few women on site for construction management. For trades and actually operatives on site, it's still tricky. Um,
Mm,
and I still think it's a problem in terms of diversity of thinking. You want different ways to see the world everywhere.
mm,
And site still has that. I'm hoping that as the construction processes improve so that it's not just about raw force. You have
yeah.
machines, a prefabrication that allow women to operate just at the same level as a man can.
Mm, mm. I mean, I'm a father of three girls, and I hope that by the time my daughters join the workforce, things will be a lot easier. So it's
Ah,
always refreshing to to see diversity in the workplace. Um, why do you think it's important to have to see more girls interested in STEM subjects?
um, and so going back to the previous point,
Mm,
it's we need different ways to see the world in everything we do. Just because different ways to see the world mean different blind spot, and what one misses, the other one can cover.
yeah.
Uh, so, and maths and science are no exception. And different ways to see the
Mm,
world also mean different interests most of the time, which is where the issue comes from. But there's always exceptions, and we should celebrate the exceptions instead of saying, "Oh, this is not for you." So, yeah, absolutely. Anyone who has any interest should be supported to do whatever, to pursue whatever it is they like. And girls, 100%. The science world needs more of you.
okay. And what advice would you give to a young girl? What advice would you give to my daughter if she said, okay, she wants to pursue a career in BIM or digital construction or AI in construction, whatever is going to be called in the future? What advice would you have for her?
Just go for it. Nobody's stopping you. And if somebody tries to stop you, they have no idea. It's in the world that is coming, the most
Mm,
important thing to be successful is to follow your passion and
mm,
use it to be really good at it. Because
really.
anyone who does a job that does not care about will be replaced by a machine.
Mm, mm. That's inspiring and scary at the same time.
Yeah. It is.
What construction jobs do you think will exist in 10 years that don't exist today?
10 years, there will be still electricians, carpenters, etc., etc. The trades will exist, even if it's just from the fact that we have so many existing buildings. All of those will still need people who have hands and work on it with their hands. In terms of
Mm,
new construction, there will be management roles. So all of that, there will still be people needed to manage the time, the money, the outputs. Um, but I expect a substantial reduction in the amount of repetitive work needed. So
okay. Because
there will be like,
machines do that
yeah,
better with
yeah, but
virtually no errors. Yeah.
yeah.
Mm. And no fatigue.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Interesting. Interesting. If you could invent any AI tool, what would it be?
Ooh, if I could invent an AI tool, um, I would invent one to communicate ideas, so to persuade someone into an outcome. There's because I'm saying that because the main issue that I found today is not about
Yeah.
technical. You can say you can do an AI tool for anything. The blocker is
Mm,
usually people understanding what you want to do and the value of it.
mm,
So
mm,
in an ideal world, you tell, okay, so I need this person on board. How do I tell the story to them? You put them the profile, what they do, what you know about them, and then boom, you create the perfect pitch.
mm. Fantastic. Fantastic. And that brings me to my final question. What is your proudest achievement so far in the construction industry?
My proudest achievement, my proudest achievement is actually a building.
Okay.
So yeah, it's a building. I worked as an architect from the initial stage, so it was little more than a sketch, and I
Mm,
focused on the core of the building, so which is the key part of the structure that has lifts, the toilets, all of the services, pipes, cables, everything. That is something that nobody can see or nobody looks at beyond just going to the toilet and using our pressing into the lift. But it's just the process of doing it
yeah.
from scratch, iterating, coordinating with everyone, and then seeing the building is there and it stands on the court that I worked on for over 2 years. It's a proud achievement. It's a bit like my baby, not quite like because now I have a baby of my own and know the difference. But work-wise, it's something that you can be proud of when you work in construction and then you say,
Yeah.
I did that.
Yeah. That was an idea in my head, and now it's there staying at me.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Fantastic. Christina, thank you very much for joining us. That was very inspirational. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Anthony. My pleasure.